They thought the war was nearly won, that the hills would fall like the cities before them. But the Highlands had ghosts, not the kind that haunt graves, the kind that fight back. Silent ambushes, poisoned paths, betrayals from smiling faces. And in this unseen war, even faith is tested. This is not just a campaign, it's a reckoning. They moved as they always had, in tight ranks, blades drawn, prayer in breath. But the forest was not still. First, it was just a rustle, then a scream. The ground exploded with arrows, smoke, thorns, and unseen ghosts rained from above. Abyssinian guerrillas, nameless, barefoot, cloaked in trees, struck from nowhere. Imam's soldiers fought back, but the trees devoured the dead. What once was a path became a trap, and each step forward now felt like walking through a grave already dug. The roads they once trusted had turned against them. Old allies whispered lies. Villagers who once offered bread now offered poisoned tea. Supplies vanished. Messengers never returned. The Highlands twisted with fog and betrayal. What good was a sword if the enemy never showed his face? Bati del Wanbara rode ahead in silence, her eyes scanning the horizon for the unseen. Ahmed muttered prayers. Even the horses walked slower, as if they too feared the land had changed, because it had. It was a village sworn loyal to the crescent. But faith, when hungry, bends under pressure. A Christian chieftain in disguise betrayed the camp's location. That night, guerrillas descended like night itself. Tents burned, horses fled, men woke to blades in their throats. The brothers of the sword defended fiercely, but the shadows were too many. The attackers knew every ridge, every tree, every blind spot. When dawn broke, Bati stood among the smoldering wreckage. Her eyes didn't cry, but the sword in her hand trembled with rage. They no longer sang. The drummers had fallen. Only the wind kept rhythm now. Some carried wounds too deep to dress. Others carried questions no imam could answer. Were they still liberators or just survivors? Imam Ahmad walked silently now. His armor, once polished and golden, was streaked with blood and dust. His voice, once fire, was low and steady. He still led, but in his silence was pain. The kind that knows even victory leaves graves behind. From cliffs and caves, the enemy watched. Their arrows rarely missed. Their silence broke only for sudden screams. Imam's commanders debated strategy. But how do you fight ghosts? The Highlanders didn't need walls, they had mountains. The Muslims didn't need ships, they had faith. But even faith staggered under the weight of so many invisible wounds. The enemy's greatest weapon was not the bow, it was their silence. And that silence echoed louder with each ambush. letter wrapped in leather was meant for Harar. It carried a message of urgency, of betrayal, of dwindling numbers. A young courier set out under moonlight. He never arrived. His body was found, weeks later, face down in a stream, pages still tied to his chest. Water had smudged the ink, but not the meaning. The Highlands burn with betrayal. We bleed, unseen. We need Harar. We need unity. The letter never reached, but the pain did. The war had grown colder. You can fight warriors, you can conquer cities, but ghosts haunt memory. They hide in the corners of grief and crawl through the cracks of doubt. At night, warriors dreamed of ambushes that hadn't happened yet. In the morning, they woke with swords drawn. The Highlands were winning, not with force, but with fear. And fear turned men into ghosts of themselves. Still, Imam Ahmad stood at dawn each day, facing the hills, whispering, "We are not done." For even ghosts fear fire, and there were still flames in his eyes. In the fractured ridges of Gojjam, a fire burned unseen. Small bands of Abyssinian fighters, hidden in forests and caves, struck swiftly and vanished into mist. Imam Ahmad's forces, though battle-hardened, found themselves chasing phantoms, ambushed on narrow ridgelines, poisoned at watering holes, betrayed by seemingly loyal locals. The Highlands whispered in a language of treachery now. Even the most devout among the Imam's commanders felt the toll of fighting a war with no front lines. Bati del Wanbara, sensing the shift, urged the commanders to adapt. But how do you fight what you cannot see? Smoke rose over Gojjam, not from villages, but from torches left behind by fleeing ghosts, daring the crescent to follow them deeper into the abyss. Some say war is steel and fire, but sometimes it's fog and silence. The Highlands did not fall, but neither did they rise. They waited, whispering, until faith either broke or blazed brighter. And in the valley below, the crescent flickered, not from defeat, but from the shadows yet to come.